Hey guys, Mindstone here. Today we'll be talking about Warlock. So, if any of you have been playing ladder for the last few days, you've probably noticed this control Warlock deck. That's not what we're talking about today. It's a very strong deck, I'm just going to mention that, and I would very much recommend actually playing it, because it seems to be completely absurd. However, that's not fun, is it? We don't want to play the the most dumb, broke thing in the world. So, let's play something else, which will resemble it slightly. No, it's another archetype after all. No, well, but getting into it, we're talking about Sulok today, and a special type of Sulok, one that is very dear to my heart. It is the healing Sulok. So the deck had a few good tools from the expansion, actually quite a lot of good tools, and I feel like it's going to probably be the best version of the standard Su, because I feel like it just destroys normal Su, it destroys aggro in like almost all forms. So yeah, that's really powerful. But without further ado, let's get into the list. The first card up is Flame Imp. Flame Imp is super powerful because it's 3/2 for only 1 mana. You take some damage, but that's not really bad in this deck because you've got loads of ways to mitigate that, or at least you've got loads of ways to utilize it for getting you further ahead. So it's fine that you take damage. It really doesn't matter if you have 30 health on turn 1 anyways. So, Flame Imp, lovely card, 3/2 for 1, which is essentially what it is. So that's just really good for getting some pressure on early and getting control of the board. Especially against control, it's super important because it helps you pressure them. And that's really important because you're not always going to outlast them. At least a lot of times you're going to be outlasted with this deck. So, you have to put that pressure on before you're getting outlasted. Yeah. But then we've got Kobold Librarian, which is like the brother of Flame Imp. He doesn't do as much damage to you, he only does 2 damage to you, and he has a little bit less stat points, so he's only 2/1 for 1, but he draws you a card. That's really amazing. He just cycles through your deck, and I would probably claim that he's probably better than Flame Imp, to be honest. He's being played in control too. Yeah, but he's so powerful because not only does he do this damage to you, which isn't that bad, and it triggers some other effects, but he also cycles and puts a body on the board for only 1 mana, and that's just super powerful. So he is an insane card, and Warlock is really happy to have him in their arsenal now, that's for sure. Yeah. Then we've got Voidwalker. This is just the all-time stable demon, 1/3 taunt for only 1 mana, super good defensive tool, and it can be used to protect your other aggressive minions, which is also super good. Not much to say about it, it's just strong. If you're facing almost no aggro, I feel like this guy could be it could be negotiated whether to play him, but I think he's so strong that you wouldn't ever cut him before cutting a lot of other things. So yeah, I've got Vulgar Homunculus, which is the big brother of that Voidlord. It's just not Voidlord, Voidwalker, excuse me. But what it does is just it blocks everything on turn 2. There's so few cards that are actually going to kill this guy for only 2 mana. So that means you're probably going to stop aggro decks right in their tracks, which is what we're trying to do here actually. So because the deck is really focused on anti-aggro. So it's a nice body, and again it has that damage to ourselves, which is what we like. So not much about that. Then we've got the next card, which is very special to the list, which came in the new expansion. It's called Fungal Enchanter. So Fungal Enchanter, when I saw this card, I thought, well, that's that Naga thing which heals all your minions and your hero. And yes, it is. It's just a lot cheaper. So the Naga has average stats for 4 mana. This has good stats for 2 mana. So if you look at the Naga, the effect is like probably, what do we say, 1 mana's worth of value. If this is like good stats for 2 mana card, and you get this effect on top of it, then it's a good 3 mana card, right? It's like almost 4 mana. So it's super good if you get that effect to matter. And you can really do that because you take a lot of damage with your minions, those effects that I talked about before. So your hero is going to get healed, and if you have some minions on the board, you can just restore them to full health, which is super strong when fighting for the board with another mid-range or aggro deck. So that's very powerful. And the next card is Happy Ghoul. And this card is the one which shines in conjuration with the previously mentioned Fungal Conjurer. Fungal Enchanter. So Happy Ghoul, well, what it does is, as soon as you're healed, it goes free. That means if you heal yourself in any way, you can just play this guy. That is lovely. It's just, if you, like, the dream is turn 1, play something that damages yourself. Turn 2, play, let's say, Homunculus or something, another thing that damages yourself. Then, turn 3, play that, add Fungal Enchanter, heal yourself and your minions, and play Happy Ghoul. Well, maybe even 2 Happy Ghouls if you've got both. That's a lot of pressure on 3 turns. So that's really, really powerful, and that's like what the early game package of the deck is really around about. Yeah. So super, super lovely card. You can squeeze it out in a lot of occasions, and that's just nice. I'm playing Talk Reaper too. Talk Reaper is there for defense. Again, we're trying to beat aggro decks, and of course we're just going to slam every defensive card we have into the deck, pretty much. And Talk Reaper is an exceptionally good defensive card. So, no discussion there. However, this is one of the cards that I would consider swapping out if you're seeing almost no aggro. Then we've got Hooked Reaver. This is also a card we're using for anti-aggro, because the body isn't terribly big on itself, But thing is, if you take a lot of damage, go below 15 or to 15, it becomes huge. Then you play this guy, he's a 7/7 with Taunt. That's a lot of mana's worth. If you consider it compared to like War Golem or something, which is a 7/7 for 7, then this guy is like worth 7 mana, but is played 4-ish. So now War Golem is terrible, but leave that be. It's still super strong. Hook Reaver is super strong if you trigger the effect, and it's decent if you just play it as a 4/4. You can do that if you're far enough ahead, or you know you're not going to take that damage in a long time. Yeah. Then we're playing Amethyst Spellstone. So this card is super insane with our deck. What it was intended for, I believe, was control Warlocks, dealing damage to themselves with, say, Hellfire or something, and then they would heal up back up with this. So I just thought when I saw this card, well, if we put it in an aggressive deck that will try to kill ourselves, this will not only prevent us from killing ourselves, it will also kill the enemy's taunts. It can do up to 7 damage for 4 mana. That's a lot. So it is essentially hard removal, because it gets so big, that will heal us simultaneously. That's pretty nice. It also triggers Happy Ghoul, of course, because it heals us. So that's amazingly powerful. And the thing is, when do you play it? You play it whenever you have like good impact out of it. Playing it for only 3 damage is still fine, as long as it just makes sense in the situation. It's not bad healing for 3 and dealing 3 damage to a minion for 4 mana. It's just not as amazing as the other 2 options. I found that the middle option, just upgrading it once, was often really good, because upgrading it twice was of course nicer, but 2 times was usually just enough to have a big impact in the mid game. So yeah. But then we're playing a single copy of Spellbreaker. So I mentioned that other Warlock deck in the beginning of the video. Spellbreaker's in there because of that Warlock deck. When they play their dumb 5-drop, which pulls out the big Void guy, so I'm of course talking about Possessed Lackey and Voidlord, you play this guy, silence that Possessed Lackey, no Voidlords. That's very nice, because you can't deal with Voidlord. It's pretty simple, you just can't get through it. So the idea of the matchup in this with this deck in that matchup is that you make sure they never play Voidlord. And if you can make that happen, then you win. If you can't, you have a chance to win. If you can't make that happen, you lose every time. So with that being a little bit harsh, I think you're just getting completely destroyed by that Warlock deck, which is like essentially just the bigger brother of this deck, where you cut all the aggro for control tools. Yeah, but then we're playing Despicable Dreadlord. I feel like this has become more inferior with the new cards. It was really powerful in Knights of the Frozen Throne, but it's more inferior now that we have all these good anti-aggro cards. But it's still good, right? It's still a fine body, and the effect is nice, and it's especially good against Hunter and Aggro Paladin. So because of these matchups, I feel like keeping it, and it's still a nice demon to resurrect later, or yeah, just play on 5. It's still not bad, so I like it. Yeah, I'm playing Doomguard. This is charge damage. It helps us being aggressive. And yeah, that's pretty sweet. It's a big body for 5 mana only, but the discard's pretty harsh, so you're often just going to play it as the last card in your hand, or if you absolutely have to, or can kill the enemy, of course. So yeah. But the next card is Skull of Man'ari, which is just that way you cheat out your Doomguard. So you're not going to play your Doomguard, but this weapon is actually going to summon your Doomguard for you, and you don't have to discard anything then. So that's really powerful, and it really puts a lot of pressure on the enemy. I haven't actually tested it a lot, but I feel like if you have the weapon, you should probably play it in this deck just because it's so funny. If you don't, then that's fair enough. Then go play something else, like another Hook Reaver or yeah, well, anything. Spellbreaker will do too, or another aggro minion like a Arcus Veteran or something. Those are really good too. But I feel like Skull of Man'ari is fun, and it's like that tech slot which you can play around with if you like to. It's mainly for like the heavier decks, the control decks. I feel like it's really good because against these decks you can just play this thing and just start tapping, and your demons will just be pulled out with it. I even considered playing that Voidlord with it, but I felt like that was going to be a little bit too heavy and impair matchups against actual control decks. Yeah, but then we're playing Abyssal Enforcer. I think this card is pretty nice because against aggro decks he's going to wipe the board. Like most of the time he just kills the entire board. That's really nice. However, I'm considering if he's a little bit too slow for 7 mana. I think maybe 1 copy's alright, especially because he also triggers your Spellstone, which is really, really sweet. But he's a little bit slow, so maybe you should only play 1 copy of it. But he feels pretty strong, and he's a demon, so that's nice. So you can just pull it out with his Skull Man'ari if you have that. Yeah, but then we're playing double Bonemare. I don't think I had a single game where I could play Bonemare, but I had lots of games where I wanted to. So what Bonemare does is it's just, as it was shown in the last meta, in the Knights of the Frozen Throne meta, it's a dumbass card for tempo, and you can beat up people with it. The taunt's really valuable for stopping aggro, and the buff is, well, good for against aggro, of course, but it's also super good at beating down control decks. So that's a lovely card. Now you might be noticing the top end of this deck is getting a little bit heavy, but the next card is Corridor Creeper, which is actually not part of the top end, because it gets discounted rapidly with this deck against any other deck that plays minions, really, which is like all decks almost. So Corridor Creeper is really cheap to play a lot of times, and that just means it's easy to get on the board, especially with something like Abyssal Enforcer and, well, just yeah, with an Abyssal Enforcer and a lot of minions on the board, you can easily trade and make this cost 0 and play it, so that's really lovely. It's just another way of pressuring the enemy. And yeah, I think I'm talking about it in like most of my videos now because it's just in every deck. So, super strong card. And the final gem of the list is Bloodreaver Gul'dan. This guy is your late game. If you're playing against aggro, your job is to make it to Bloodreaver Gul'dan. A lot of times you're going to kill them before we get there, but if you can't kill them, your job is to get here, because at that point their chances of winning the game drop dramatically. Because the hero power is going to heal you for a ton and kill them really fast, or their minions for that matters. And summoning an entire board of demons is really powerful too, especially when you have Doomguards and Abyssal Enforcers and Despicable Dreadlords shuffled in there too. It's not as good as it is in the control of Warlock list because, well, we're not getting 3/9 taunts that can block virtually anything, but it's pretty strong. So yeah, there's no discussion about that card. I think it's probably a Warlock stable for the next, what is it, till not the next standard rotation, but the next one after that. So yeah, that's about the deck. Further notes, it's getting destroyed by control and it destroys aggro, so it's like pretty polarized. I feel like it would probably be a good deck to bring to a tournament lineup because it's really good at stopping these aggro decks. So you can just target aggro decks and build a lineup around that and just kind of make that work. And then you don't really care about control decks too much. But yeah, I think that was all I had to say, so we'll be getting right into a game. Okay guys, we are back with a gameplay. So, going into this, as I mentioned in the previous part, we're looking for aggro. We don't want to face control. If we face control, we're done. at least control Warlock. We can beat other control decks like a lot of times. So it's going to be Priest. I think Priest is pretty interesting because they have that Dragon Midrange archetype, which is like fairly easy to beat, and then they have some Highlander and Big Priest, which is really hard. So I'm keeping this entire hand because this is going to like beat my health down, trigger the Amethyst Spellstone twice, which is then going to pull out the Ghoul. So it's a pretty good hand. Things just like come in a flow. Now, with Voidwalker being drawn, I'm very heavily considering to coin that Librarian. I think I will though, just because of Fairy Dragon. It's the best answer we have for it. A little bit of, I would be annoyed if he has Potion of Madness though. Shadow and Pain. That suggests it's not mid-range. So that's quite terrible to be honest. We'll just put pressure on, I think. That's gotta be better. Our hand's a little bit slow right now. If he keeps playing like that, we won't really get anything done. Well, that's super annoying. The Dark Reaper's fine though. But as you see, an aggro deck would have had an immense trouble getting through this. And we would have had lots of answers for it. This one being super good against aggro decks too, and not that good against control decks. So right now we're really struggling with that. He just sits there and does nothing. But I guess we don't really have anything to do about it. We just keep playing things. Lots of taunts. I even considered playing Crystal Weave in the deck, because you had a lot of demons that you could buff with it, but I don't know. It feels a little bit aggressive though, which is like going against what we want to do with the deck. Now we can't heal anything with a Fungal Enchanter. Fungal Enchanter. I don't want to play that yet. It doesn't really feel good. So going onwards with this. Oh, we should have played that one. No, actually, he's gonna Dragonfire this. He's got a Dragonfire, right? I think he's got to, unless he plays Shadow Essence, to pull out something being Big Priest. We're just really hoping it's not Dragonfire, because Dragonfire would be really terrible. Okay, he doesn't have that. Alright, so what does this mean? Nothing? What? Oh well, then it's time for Skull of the Manari. Because if he doesn't clear the board now, we're really well off, right? Because then he's like dead. And if he does clear the board, we're gonna play like both of these, pretty much. That's pretty good. I think the Dream is top decking the other Doomguard, honestly. Because that means there's a large chance of us just playing both Doomguards and killing him. So, the other Doomguard, please. That's not it. Let's tap for it. Get it. Nothing we can do about that. But the Skull Manari is just going to keep putting pressure now, which is really lovely. However, that Psychic Scream was pretty sad. I guess it's fine, right? Because we got a lot of his health run down. But it was sad because we can't actually keep pressuring him now. Even though if he just plays a big taunt, we're just going to win. Pretty sure so. Not Obsidian Statue, but that can be lethal. Yeah, that's lethal. We've got our heart removal tool here, which is not actually heart removal in this case, but it does the job. We can tap for Gul'dan. Matters, but there we go. So we won this game because he had absolutely nothing in his hand. We'll be doing another game because that was really boring. So you could be control if they draw crap like he just did. He would have had Barnes on turn 4 or Dragonfire on 6 or what is it, Shadow Essence on turn 6 or anything, and that would have stopped us in our tracks there, I think. Not completely, of course, but it would have annoyed us a lot. But he didn't have that, so he was just running him down. Now we're up against Warlock, and we've got Spellbreaker. I'm going to hold the Spellbreaker, because if it's control, we're going to need it. We're going to need it to stop his possessed Lackeys. So we're holding that, and I feel like Voidwalker is good. And Dark Reaper is going to be a fine turn 3, so it looks pretty good to me. Mulligan everything away, it seems. Yeah. Oh well. But if it's Sulog, we're just winning anyways, so at least that's pretty plausible. So Voidwalker actually suggests it's going to be Sulog. That's pretty sweet. That just means we're going to be sitting back, enjoying our very defensive approach. It could, of course, be Control Warlock, which thinks that it's a good idea to play these, but well, you commonly don't do that. Okay, this is not Control Warlock. There is no chance it could ever be Control Warlock. I think we're going to be putting pressure on. That's important. So, as you see, a super strong turn 3 playing both of these. Oh, and there comes Patches. That one goes pretty strong. But I believe we're okay. This one is a little bit of a problem, though. What can we do? I think we'll just go for this one. It's not amazing, but it's good enough. And we're loading up both Quarter Creepers now, which is really sweet. It was mainly just to get that Amethyst Spellstone to be a little bit bigger, really. It didn't really heal us right now because we had 30 health. That was a bit sad. Yeah. But I'm going to be expecting that he's making this one hit this one, kill it, and then he's going to be trading Patches in here and that one in there. That's the expected outcome of this. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so now he can kill the Dark Reaper. It's fine though. The Corridor Creepers are going really cheap. So he might be able to play one too, but that one will kill it then. So that's really good, actually. And we're just playing those lovely beasts. And as we do have a heavier late game than he does, most likely, we should just be able to take this long game and win it. I've got a Spellbreaker too for if anything would need to be silenced. I think Doomguard's probably the worst case right now, and that's definitely not Doomguard. And neither is that. I could imagine just silencing this, because we really don't want to have him draw a lot of cards. We're going to tap, and silence will come out. So now he's got a few good trades lined up, but that's alright. We don't really mind it terribly much. He won't be clearing all three unless he does something from his hand, and that will impact it, but if he does that, it's alright. Yeah, there we go, there's the Doomguard. He's going to be throwing the other Doomguard, but not getting a card off it. So that was really important. Now we don't have anything on turn 7, which is pretty sad, but we'll have to live with that. We're hoping to draw Abyssal Enforcer, I think. So getting that one was pretty sad, but it's still going to be okay. We're playing this one right now because it means that we have a demon next turn, which we can play Bonemare onto. Pulling this one would be exceptionally good. But we're going to be taking 8 damage, which is actually quite a lot. It's not been a terribly good early game, but we should be able to make it alright. So that is probably what we're going to be clearing. So please.
Good demons are hard to find.
Okay, that was pretty unlucky. Oh wait, we can't actually attack. Never mind, it's fine. It's still a fairly big taunt, right? he shouldn't have the damage to actually kill us here. He might have it, but I don't think so. It really depends on how many minions he can play. We will have both of these out next turn, one way or the other. The Bonemare, if I'm not contested on this board, we might just have lethal. Well, that one's not really contesting anything. No, we're not having lethal, obviously. We might just be able to prevent him from having it.
Good demons are hard to find.
Pretty sweet. So this will result in a super strong clear with both of these going off on the board. Now Soulfire is obviously lethal, but there's not much we can do about that. As soon as we get Bloodreaver Gul'dan, we should be in a lot better position. We should be a lot better positioned. But we might just have lethal next turn. There's that chance. No. Okay, so he's going to I'll go through our barriers. What is this? This is 13? It's not enough. But this one's going to be pulled out of the skull, which is pretty sweet. We can't tap now because we are 2 health. However, that looks a lot like lethal. And yes, there we go. So that was an amazingly close game. Don't think I tried it that close against aggro before actually, but it worked, so I'm happy. Yeah, but I think what really mattered here was that we got onto the board and we sort of blocked him out. But what was really hard for us though was that he had that Councilman going, which was getting really big in the early game. And especially Councilman, it's just really scary for this deck, I feel like, if you don't get to kind of put up your board before they do. So yeah, but anyways, here we are, we've won it, and that's lovely. And you guys have seen what the deck can do, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and that you might try it for yourself, instead of just playing Control Warlock all the time. But enough said, I hope to see you in my next video.